Starting 7 is going to be me, Luke, and Luke. To George and Marcus, 9 and 10. Y'all figure out what you want to do. Tom to Garrett.
Very good.
Same 12 from this morning. Nothing's changed there. It's always funny when like people ask you what rugby is, because they'll like start and they'll be like, it's like lacrosse, right? Or then they'll be like, it's like soccer and football mixed, and then you're just like, yeah, that's what it is. But like a deeper explanation of it is those sports combined, but I mean, we don't wear pads, and that's the biggest thing about it. You get hurt a lot. You got to throw the ball backwards. You can't throw it forwards, it's a penalty. So you're making your team go forward by actually going backwards, and honestly, it plays a lot into angles.
Right down to the line. Back to the big guys.
Like my 8th grade year of middle school, they were like, you got to pick one sport. I was playing baseball and football at the time. I thought I was going to be a baseball player. I loved baseball with everything in me. So I get to freshman year, I say, I don't need football. I don't want to play football. I just want to focus on baseball. Turns out I'm horrible at baseball. I am so bad at it. I didn't make the freshman team, and then I ended up transferring schools and going to Beach. And I made that baseball team, and I was like, oh, great, I can be a baseball player again. Didn't play. I sat the bench the entire year, which was awful. And so a couple of my buddies who had been playing rugby for who knows how long, they were just like, come try out rugby, see if you like it. And then I got intrigued, so I showed up to the first practice of that upcoming season. My first practice was horrible. I thought I was just not gonna be an athlete anymore. I was like, I'm not good at anything. And so I stuck with it. I kept practicing, kept learning the game. My high school coach, Brian Silkwood, 100% the best coach I've ever had. He played here at UT. He taught me everything I know to this day about the simple aspects of rugby. And I just fell in love with the game. You can never truly figure out what rugby is, because once you figure it out, it changes with new laws, new rules. So, I mean, it's really complex. One of our coaches likes to call it controlled chaos.
You know, Brian Silkwood had told me all about Josh and how he played and what type of player he was, but then I got to witness it in the state playoffs. Definitely had the ability. In high school, it was just a bit of chaos, and the fact that he was trying to do everything.
When I came to visit Tennessee, Marty, our head coach, basically just told me that, like, we're the team that wins championships, no matter how long, how hard, how tough it is. We're going to be in the championship game, and we're going to win. And that, everybody wants to be a winner. I mean, you got to love to win. And when I went to other teams and went to other, like, tours, none of them ever talked about their goals of what their program was. They all said that they're this and they're that, and it just never made me really feel like home.
Everything that could have possibly transpired within a contest, a championship contest, right? There was dominance at certain points, there was comebacks, there was literally everything you could ask for, and just a whole lot of heart and grit, right? To see they left everything on the field. You look at Bowling Green right now as the Tennessee Volunteers are celebrating.
Department of Health is reporting more than 1,300 new COVID-19 cases tonight. This brings the statewide case count to more than 785,000.
Yeah, looking at the numbers, we're also seeing 32 more deaths from the virus, and this means nearly 11,600 Tennesseans have died with COVID since the pandemic began.
I hate online school. I don't learn a thing from a computer. I'm a hands-on guy. I have to be in the classroom. I have to be writing down stuff. And I felt myself get like a lot more distant from school.
And that was difficult for everybody, and Josh included. And you know, and with his major, it's, you know, the online stuff just doesn't work. You know, and construction science and things that you're doing there, and with all that. So I mean, that's get in the room and learn kind of stuff, and that's not online stuff. It was hard on everybody to try to figure out what that meant, and you know, how do you exist on a college campus when you don't have classes on a college campus?
I got a house with some of my best friends. I played high school rugby with a lot of them. We now play at Tennessee. and we just got a horrible house. It was beat down, it was broken, but we wanted to live in a house. We wanted to be those guys. We wanted to have the rugby house. And then winter came, and this is when it gets really bad, because our house didn't have heat. And we knew this at the time we signed our lease, but we thought it would be fine. We just used space heaters all the time. And then we lost our hot water. And then it just felt like everything was coming down. And then like right after winter started, we're into winter training, and I tear my labrum in my left shoulder. And I just thought everything was over.
After the shoulder injury, when I first saw it and it was sticking straight up like that, I believe it was the semifinals or what, and he left the game in tears. And I thought his collarbone was broken, and we go in there and the shoulder's sticking straight up, and the doctor's like, we may have to go take him to the hospital and force it down. I thought he was done at that point, but he looked at me and said, no, I'm not.
I thought I was done playing rugby. They told me I had to have immediate surgery. I'd be not playing for 9 months, and everybody knows in rugby that like if you take that amount of time off, you're not coming back. It's hard to get back into the swing of things. I actually became homeless because our landlord's still, to this day, one of the meanest guys I know, but he basically evicted me if I wasn't gonna pay rent, because I threatened him that I wasn't gonna pay rent if he didn't fix our heat and our hot water, because we have to be able to live. We're paying $800 a month to live in this house that we can't live in. It's a funny story, but me and my roommate used to have to walk to his brother's house down the street to take a shower. It was an all-time low because I didn't know what my next direction was. I didn't know how I was gonna come out of not having a home. I didn't have a car. I can't play rugby. Everything I love just felt like it was keep being pushed and pushed away. I remember it to this day. The day I went to the doctor and they told me that I had torn my labrum, and he said that if we go through with surgery, you're not gonna be able to play for 9 months. This day I sat and I cried and I bawled, and I had no answers for what I was gonna do the rest of my life. I didn't wanna do school. I didn't wanna hang out with friends. I didn't wanna play rugby. It's just, when that thing that holds your life together gets taken out, you can't really imagine what is coming next.
You know, when you coach these guys and you're around them so much and you get to know them, you hurt with them. You have that same emotion they have.
He told me I had the option of getting surgery, even though he highly suggested it. And I told him I'm not doing surgery. I can't be out of rugby for 9 months. So I got with our team trainer, Matt Schaller, and Ryan Greer, and I was like, I don't care what we have to do. I don't care how much pain I'm in. We've got to get my shoulder back to a place where I can play rugby. And so for the next 6 weeks, all we did 3 times a week was PT, train, weight, and everything to just get that shoulder to where it was going to be. And it hurt. Like, I was in physical pain most nights when I went to bed.
He was very determined. And again, Josh is in constant motion. So he's always going to the next thing. And even during online classes and injury, he was always moving to the next thing. But just as important was the fact that the way he trained, in the way he bounced back from having some disappointments. I refer back to the national championship game, that early line break he got. We needed that. Just as important as getting that line break was that next phase when he plowed into the fullback. That was important. Now, would I rather seen him maybe sidestep that and try to go on? Sure, but it also set the tone as here we are. We're going to make you tackle us, and it's that attitude that he was able to finally harness a little bit. That made us successful that day.
He's always been tough. To me, he's my baby, but for him, when he was in middle school, he ran through a glass door, and the next door neighbor came and got me and said, Miss Laurel, Josh broke our door. He didn't tell me Josh was bleeding profusely. But he's always, anytime he's hurt, he just muscles through it. And I'm like, as his mom, I'm like, no. Today he didn't bring his shoulder brace with him, and I was like, you need to get it taped. Do I need to go buy you one? He's like, Mom, I'll be fine. And so he's tough. I'm not so tough. So.
My mom is, I say it all the time, but she's my biggest supporter, my #1 fan. I love her to death. But she's always been the backbone of our family. My parents divorced when I was 6 years old, and I went to live with my mom full time. And I mean, she's raised me and my other sisters just to the people we are today. Anytime she can be there at a rugby game, she's there. And if somebody starts smacking off at our players, my mom's the first one to stand up in the audience and tell them to sit down.
The Savannah games, I forget who they were playing. It was one of the military schools, and the guy grabbed Josh by the neck and threw him down, and I was up and I was mad, and my husband's like, "You're gonna get me in a fight." And then as we were leaving, they were standing at the edge of the field like they were gonna say something, so I went over there and stood too, and my husband's like, "What are you gonna do?" And I'm like, "He's gotta get through me to get to him."
She tells me that life's what it gives us, and we gotta be able to go at it with a head-on approach. You never know what's gonna happen, and you gotta adapt and overcome.